Hello and welcome to A Star to Steer Her By. We are a Star Trek watching podcast. We are now watching Discovery Season 3 on our episode number 404.
Woo! Episode not found.
Episode not found. That's appropriate because Adira's memories are gone.
Yeah, memories not found.
Yeah.
Memories not found.
Episode title.
It might be. I have some other ideas, but we'll see if that sticks. So after 404, episode not found episodes, you know that I am Ames. Oh, Caitlin is not here.
Oh, yeah.
Caitlin not found.
Caitlin not found.
404. Jake.
And Chris.
Yeah, Caitlin is in those symbiont pools, and we haven't sent somebody after her yet. Sorry, Caitlin.
I mean, it's probably good for her shoulder at this point, just floating in water.
Well, we have a very complex a complex and simple episode at the same time, which is a little bit bonkers because the episode we're doing today is Forget Me Not. Let me give you guys a quick synopsis of Forget Me Not. We start with this sappy log from Hugh, as is Discovery's wont, telling us the theme of the episode, which is take a fucking mental health day, bitches. So Discovery is going to Trill because Adira knows she's hosting the Tal symbiont but can't access any of the Tal memories. And we kind of want to know what Senatal's deal was, who was that admiral who contacted whoever was listening. So Hugh and Burnham discuss who should go with Adira. Clearly, it should be someone who's had a similar identity crisis problem due to being reborn and might be familiar with any of the medical history of the Trill and who can actually support Adira emotionally. Just kidding, it's going to be Michael. Hugh, however, has to stay on board Discovery so that he can tell Saru that the whole crew is pretty much a slight breeze away from complete mental breakdown. Stamets is snapping at Tilly for thinking that still using him as a carburetor is a bad idea. Detmer is still in that PTSD haze we've seen her in. Linus exists. Saru's gonna think on this. Meanwhile, on Trill, we meet Commissioner Voss, who is initially thrilled that the host has returned, as the bird has apparently really depleted the population of joinable Trills. But when he sees that Adira is some amnesiac human, he basically tries to cut the symbiont out of her himself.
Yep.
We also
Gross.
meet Guardian, was it Z?
It sounded like Z.
Okay, it's XI, but I know there's a lot of different pronunciations you can use with XI. I'm going to say Z.
Yeah.
If I'm wrong, come at me, Guardian.
That's what it sounded like when I watched it, that they were saying Z. So
okay, that sounds right. But when I see it written, it's like, oh gosh, which pronunciation?
Yeah, like you said, there's so many ways that can go in,
All right, so we meet Guardian Z, and he agrees to help Adira and takes everyone down to the jizz pools that we saw from Equilibrium. Because get ready, guys, we are rewriting the Trill yet again. But first, back on Discovery, Saru consults the computer like he did back in Season 1 when he asked it to name some captains we've heard of. But this time he asks it to name some good mental health practices, and the computer flashes with this sphere data logo and gets all cutesy with him and starts going on and on about silent films. So, wonder what this is going to be in reference to. But Saru decides to throw a dinner party instead. And things are going really well until that slight breeze that we were worrying about before whisks through the captain's quarters and Detmer fucking snaps. It's pretty much any Thanksgiving with your worst red hat wearing family members.
I mean, here's the thing. She at least has an excuse. Our family members are just jerks.
Yeah, it was the straw that broke Detmer's back, and it's awkward to watch, and the poor things. Back in the jizz pools, Adira is suddenly pulled under the water, milk, whatever that shit is, and someone has to go rescue her. Clearly, it's going to be someone who's a Trill and has literally any idea what these rituals and biology. Oh, just kidding. It's going to be Michael. So Michael goes down there and finds Adira in this nether pool area. And they witness some of Adira's memories and learn that Adira's boyfriend, Gray, he was the Trill who came before Adira got the Tal symbiont. And she got the symbiont when Gray died in a horrible accident, and it was very sad.
Yes.
But now Adira has the memories, and the Trill government is all like, oh good, we like you now. Gee, thanks, Trill government. And even we get Gray sticking around as Adira's sort of Great Gazoo.
Nice.
Not a reference I was expecting. Holy shit.
It's the only thing I can ever think of whenever Gray is like in Adira's like peripheral vision doing the thing. The same thing kind of happened with, was it Joran Dax?
Kind of, yeah.
In Feast of Fire, something of fire.
Yeah, something of fire.
Something
Field
of fire. Field of Fire, that's the one.
Yeah.
But this one just seems to just have happened without using the magic shit or different magic shit. Again, the Trill have a new magic superpower almost as often as Vulcans do. Oh, and Saru has decided to cure everyone's depression by watching Buster Keaton movies. The end.
Oh, man. So the one thing, a meta thing that keeps throwing me is that, of course, in the show, the characters are Adira and Gray. But then in the real world, Adira's actor is named Blue.
And Gray has blue hair.
Yeah, so
yeah,
not
that
spelled
me
like
too.
not spelled like the color, but pronounced like it. So that there's always these moments where I think of Adira as Blue, and it's like, no, that's their real name. Shit, this is confusing. I also kind of forgot until this episode, like I brain farted and forgot that Trill take the surname from the symbiont. So I was like, wait, how are all these people right, because it's the symbiont. Jesus Christ, Chris, that's like such old fucking background. How did you forget that?
Do you guys remember when these episodes were going live, people were theorizing that the Tal symbiont would be Dax?
So grateful it wasn't.
Oh yeah, that would have been a terrible idea.
It's actually, I mean, looking at the number of previous hosts, it's a relatively young one.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, like, because Dax is, 300-something years old at the time of DS9, and there were already, like a dozen, maybe not a dozen, but there were seven or eight.
Seven or so, yeah.
Yeah, so...
Past hosts. But we do know that Dax may have been somewhat unlucky because a lot of them died pretty young, as we know.
Curzon didn't. Curzon lived a long time.
Curzon didn't. And the other one, the old lady, lasted a while, but...
No, I think the mother one that went into Quark.
Yeah.
Audrey.
But old shuttle accident and Joran and Jadzia all kind of cacked early.
The Dax symbiont is a risk taker, and the hosts pay for it. Again, except fucking Curzon, who died after a wild night on Risa, which is exactly how Curzon wanted to go.
Oh, definitely, absolutely. Yeah, I was curious watching, so we have it's almost a Jean Terra multiplied by 2 kind of thing. Yeah. When we see all the hosts come and visit with Adira at the end. And my first thought was, how do the hosts in this kind of memory pool decide what they're gonna wear? How does it happen? Because Gray comes out in a really cute little jacket thing. I'm like, damn!
Yeah.
Maybe it's like in, in the Matrix, when you go into the construct, you're still wearing clothes and you have hair. It's like your residual self-image.
That's true. You don't decide that. It just happens. And sometimes you're in a gi.
Yes.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's actually a very old comic I read years ago. And they're in this sort of weird semi, like, not real space. And all the characters are there, but as they sort of see themselves, and they look quite a bit like they already do, but there's just like these very slight differences in how they are normally drawn, because it's their self-perception versus their actual appearance.
Right.
And I always thought that was a nice little thing. So yeah, it might have to do with that. Actually, that does make me realize, though, there is a problem there, because not that we've seen it in our viewing yet, but in the real world, one of the people in a Starfleet uniform is in a Picard-era uniform. Yeah,
I noticed that.
So actually, the symbiote is very old.
Must be. Maybe the symbiote took a host break and just lived in the pool for a while.
I bet you that also does happen.
Yeah, that could be a thing.
Especially if there is a lack of suitable hosts at
a
particular time.
Yeah, because I remember we learned that there should be more.
They're digging up that old chestnut, I see. Oh, there's no suitable hosts. It's like,
well, considering how many Trill may have died in the burn, that might actually not be a lie anymore.
Yeah, but I always assume that, like, the number of people living on the planet Trill would have to vastly outnumber the number, however many symbionts there were.
Yeah.
I figure they're more likely they just lost a whole shitload of symbionts. So I wouldn't be surprised if
that makes sense.
If Dax was still kicking around, he could have gone.
That's the thing.
Gotten killed.
If anyone is super dead, it's Dax. I feel like Dax was a Starfleet lifer. And
I'm
was
half
killed
expecting
in the burn.
Dax to have created the burn for fun.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah,
somewhere between that Tarius and Curzon voice was like, do something crazy.
But yeah, that's the thing is, like, for all that, like, there's some very slight sort of sounding changes. Like, a lot of the behavior of the Trill tracks.
Oh yeah, they're haughty as hell.
They are DS9 really did just make them the worst. Like, individuals, great. Their government, the worst.
No, they're not Vulcans from Enterprise.
Up there with the worst.
Yeah, and they're our allies, too.
Yeah, they're into some shady shit. I noticed, too, that I realized that funny music from last week was back.
Yeah, that just seems to be the Adira music, which it sounds so infantilizing to me.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's very much like, oh, look at the little kid, oh boy.
I think I was like, oh, so maybe it's meant to be their leitmotif, but I don't remember if it sticks around, because...
Yeah, we'll have to keep an ear out for it. Yeah, because I also don't remember, like, future seasons, what they do.
Yeah.
A deer out for it.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
It is kind of a weird choice, just because, though, like, I don't think really anyone else has their own motif.
If they do, it's got to be real subtle.
Yeah,
like I know composers love doing that kind of shit.
They can, yeah. I feel like it's definitely in movies. Like, I mean, John Williams fucking loves a motif. I feel like especially with a TV series where, you know, you might be swapping out composers semi-regularly, like, they tend to just stick with, like, we'll do variants on the familiar themes, maybe, and, like, sort of all the Starfleet people get kind of lumped under
maybe
the Trek theme, and the Klingons will be, like, the Klingon theme, but to have an individual character theme, like...
Well, it makes their job easier if they've already know what music they're going to put into what scene.
Yeah. But yeah, like, if Michael has a theme, I don't know it off the top of my head. You know, it is, again, just super subtle if it's there, whereas Adira's very much stands out.
I'm curious because I know we've talked about the music in Picard doing interesting things, especially in season 1. We'll have to keep an ear out for that as well. I'm so bad at listening for the music, which is why when it's like this like little lilty thing for Adira, it sticks out to me so much that I actually notice it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that thing, it's so different from everything else in the show is what's so surprising about it.
It feels TOS-y.
Almost. I was actually going to say, in some ways, actually, again, speaking of Williams, there's an almost Williams-y quality, a sort of a Star Wars or a Harry Potter or an Indiana Jones, because he loves those sort of light, tripping themes for sort of lighter moments.
Right, yeah. You need to take your foot off the everything is intense all the time gas pedal sometimes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So and again, as I said last week, on its own, a lovely piece of music, but it does rather stand out here.
Yeah, especially when, and I mentioned this last week, and I'm still harping on it because I'm still pissed about it a little bit. The first introduction we get to Adira is watching her act in a professional role.
Yeah.
So to then transition that to, we're going to treat Adira like a child, it just does not fit for me.
Yeah, like it certainly worked a little better, I think, this week because the interaction was so different. Like,
yeah, because this was when she was talking with Michael.
Yeah, and it was a more sort of, it was a less odd and more sort of friendly sequence.
Yeah.
So it worked better in that regards, but again, still stood out tonally. Not tonally. Again, it just stood out because it's so different from the rest of the... thank you, yes. The rest of the series.
Yeah. But so far, I really like the Adira character.
Yeah.
I find, like, the idea of Adira hosting the Tal symbiont and having Gray's memories in there, that's very cool. That's very heartbreaking. I love that scene between the two of them. That's lovely. With the quilt! It's just so cute!
Yeah.
I mean, the quilt itself didn't look as nice as I thought they wanted it to, but the idea of it being a quilt was so cute.
Considering, like, handmade shit is probably so rare in this day and age, and Adira had to self-teach themselves all this, like, I'm impressed.
Yeah, well, Gray does say you're an art genius, and when I look at that quilt, I was like, I'm not seeing art genius in that quilt. That's a very normal looking quilt.
They're on this like generation ship, so we don't know how many artists there are. I mean, it's quite possible Adira is the best artist on the ship.
It's the 30th century. Like, art genius means you're really good at Chat GPT prompts.
Oofda.
Oh my.
No, I love the idea of the quilt, and then the quilt gets the blood all over it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, oh, my heart.
What I like too is like some of the dialogue in that scene is definitely a little cheesy, but it's like, yeah, this is how 15-year-olds in their first relationship would definitely talk.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't feel like artificially youthful. You know, it just felt like, it's like, oh, I've said shit that cringy when I was a fucking teenager.
Right. And Gray is also kind of fascinating as someone who gets the symbiont.
Yeah.
And Adira even asks, like, are you going to still be you?
Yeah.
And Gray's like, oh, yeah, I'll just be me with all these additional new layers. And we've had this discussion with Jadzia before, definitely, about, like, where does the symbiont end? Where does Jadzia begin? And the same thing happens a little with Gray, especially since Gray is very young. Yeah.
Like, in a way, Gray, like, I feel like you got to be pretty desperate to give a symbiont to somebody that young as it is. Like, I feel like, I don't know what the rules normally are, but I feel like they probably prefer giving them to, like, fully grown adults who already have...
Like, Jadzia went through that training with Curzon.
Yeah, well, but remember, like, Ezri was certainly ill-prepared to be a host, and it was an emergency because the symbiont was dying on the way to Trill, so they're like, oh, well, we have to put it in somebody, and that seems kind of probably like what happened on this generation ship, where it's like, Senna was dying, and Gray was the Trill around.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what I mean. I feel like under normal circumstances, they wait until they're already an adult and have a stronger sense of who they are. Like, in a way, giving it to someone who not only isn't trained, but, you know, I mean, is still figuring out themselves, you know, like 15 years old. Oh, I'm assuming they're the same age, but we assume about 15 years old. Yeah.
But we can, I mean, that's interesting, right? So if we assume that, and I don't think we get enough information on this generation ship to be fair, but if we assume that Senna and Gray were both just passengers on this ship,
looking for the Federation,
either they're related, like directly, like,
or
Gray
the generation ship hasn't been going for that long,
or it hasn't been going for that long, or there's a lot more Trill on board, in which case it does kind of raise the question as to why Gray got the symbiont.
Adira does mention they were both orphans, so it could be that Gray did have parents on the ship who passed, and they had been the only other Trill.
Maybe,
especially because, you know, we don't know, because presumably this ship. Well, no, we know this ship set out from Earth, so there may not have been a ton of Trill, you know, chilling on Earth who then signed up to be on this generation ship looking for the Federation. So.
Remind me, because I don't remember if this is established or if I missed it or if it comes up later, how Adira gets back to Earth. Because Adira, when we meet Adira, she's in the EDF.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe after whatever accident happened, she turned around.
Yeah, she says towards the beginning of the episode that she was found on an escape pod.
Okay. So probably that asteroid fucked that ship. They all escape podded. Earth came and bailed them out.
Yeah,
so it was a generation ship, but maybe it wasn't even very far from Earth. Like, maybe it made it to Mars, and
the sense I have is that, like, this mission was still relatively young. Like, it was a generation ship that hadn't even had its first, like, generation.
Okay, that makes it make a lot more sense then. Like, if Senna if Senna was just on Earth, died, Gray was just another Trill that was around, and then Gray and Adira were just like, well, let's sign up for this a generation ship thing. We got nothing else going for us.
Yeah.
And then it gets out, you know, travels for a few weeks, gets wrecked. Bad plan.
Yeah.
Good plan, bad execution.
Yeah, bad deflector array.
Right?
Like, I think that's what that thing is meant for. And, like, first of all, your engineer...
Who was piloting that?
Your engineer wasn't keeping up on your deflector array. Whoever the fuck was supposed to be keeping an eye on the sensors dropped the ball. The pilot dropped the ball. Like, there needs to be a huge investigation into this. Where is Space FAA? Like, I know the Federation's gone, so who's in charge of that now?
Yeah. Yeah. So, Chris, a little earlier ago, you mentioned ChatGPT in some context.
Oh, yes.
But I was thinking the conversation that Saru has with the computer when he's trying to decide how to cheer everybody up was so reminiscent of a million ChatGPT conversations I've had.
No.
Where it's just like, yeah, so now I'm starting to think that this ship's computer that's apparently now maybe sentient or something is probably just like an LLM with a really huge context window.
So, the reason I said that, I think, is because I was going to mention, so Saru asked ChatGPT. So, yes, I had that similar thought. And it's funny because, of course, when this came out, a lot of that stuff wasn't really in the public consciousness yet.
I don't even think the first version of ChatGPT had been released.
Yeah, not in 2020.
I wasn't sure, but I was like, at the very least, if it existed, it wasn't really, like, in the public mind. I wasn't clear on the timeline of ChatGPT. But I was like, I know I'd not heard of it at the time, at least, so... It was
I feel like around this time we were just starting to get the very first like image generators, like
you're right, actually,
that were really bad and like couldn't do faces and hands.
Oh my god,
like
those are always hilarious though.
Wasn't even that, because I actually remember now that you mention it. I remember sitting waiting for my second round of COVID vax. No, this was a booster and a flu shot. Anyway, so it was still not long after lockdowns had ended, but when Dreams was new, which was this like early AI image app you could get on your phone. And the whole thing with that one even was like, you weren't expecting like a result that looked even remotely real. And that was kind of the fun of it at the time. It was like you'd punch in a thing and it would give you this vague, very impressionistic image. And how quickly it turned into the nightmare we exist in now is very depressing. Because at the time, it was just fun, It was like, oh, it's going to give you this funny little thing. It's going to like...
Yeah, it's John Oliver's Romance with a Cabbage. We love it.
Yeah, it's a very vague, like, you'd type in, like, oh, give me, you type in fantasy world, and you get this thing, that kind of looks like a castle if you squint and tilt your head. That's a fun toy. And it was before we knew about, like, the environmental implications, and before we realized, oh, this is going to get... convincing enough, quick enough that terrible people will decide to fire humans.
Yeah.
So like
But Discovery Computer seems nice.
Yeah, no, she at least likes Buster Keaton.
The scene at the very, very end when Saru is telling Culber, like, oh yeah, it wasn't my idea to watch movies. The way all of that is phrased, and he's like, yes, I should look into what the computer's up to. He has given absolutely no context to Culber about what the fuck he's talking about.
Yeah.
So if you watch that scene thinking from Culber's point of view, like, he should be asking Saru, like, what the actual shit did you do? What's wrong with the computer now? We need that. We're the one ship that can jump. We need to work.
Culber's just sitting there going, smiling and nodding while thinking, filing that away for later. Because I am now the ship's psychiatrist.
Yep. I mean, apparently.
Buster
that
Keaton
honestly
is the ship's psychiatrist.
But like, since we know there's already a different CMO on board,
who we never meet.
I thought, isn't Dr.
It's
Pollard?
Not Pollard. Pollard is just another doctor.
Okay. Well, we know that there is another CMO and there's Dr. Pollard. I kind of feel like Hugh really could have filled the niche of a counselor on board.
From the writing standpoint or from in-world standpoint?
From in-world. Like,
Okay.
I feel like they should have just made Hugh the ship's counselor. Or maybe,
Take
maybe
a crash course right now.
Or like maybe he was a doctor, obviously, and then when he came back from the dead, he's like, I just can't do this anymore. I can't deal with death and suffering, but I still want to help people. I'm still driven by the need to help people.
Let me talk to you about death and suffering.
And then he becomes the ship's counselor, which just seems to be the role that he's filling. And it makes him less redundant because I just feel like every time there's a medical emergency, it's like, okay, well, we have Pollard, we have the CMO evidently. Like what's Hugh's, what niche is Hugh filling here?
To be fair, every time there's a medical emergency, we avoid going to med bay as much as possible because we don't want Hugh doing anything. And we don't want to give anybody else lines.
Yeah, I do, I feel like some of the best work this show does is in just having honest conversations about feelings. And
So
I realize
much.
the tricky part, of course, becomes that, like, the reality of discussing feelings clashes with, show don't tell. Because to actually deal with emotions, you have to just explicitly talk about them. You have to tell. So there's this weird balancing act of trying to depict it in a way that feels genuine while still being decent TV. And I feel like, they generally usually, like, I really quite like those moments, the most awkward Star Trek dinner since 6, followed by
any dinner with Archer.
Those are, it's a different kind of awkward. And then just sort of the moments where, Tilly comes back and then Stamets comes back and is sort of cowed and realizes he'd been a dick. And I don't know. I quite like them. They're good scenes.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought so.
They're good scenes. This episode, I don't know what it was that I was expecting from it. Maybe it's because they built up what's going on with Detmer for 4 episodes for it to just be she bursts out at Stamets. And that's about it. Like, I don't know if it's that I was expecting more stakes. I don't know if I was expecting it to be something where, like, she's actually putting someone in danger with not being able to do her job. But it just felt like I was expecting more, and then by the time we get to the end, it's like, oh, everyone's just going to watch movies, and that's going to be how we cure them. It felt like not enough.
If I recall correctly, we're still not quite done with this arc, so this is just a step in it.
Okay, I don't remember where it goes from here, but yeah, it felt like, and now we've solved Detmer because she's getting counseling.
Yeah, no, to its credit, from what I recall, she's not solved. She's begun the process of getting better, good. But she's not. Again, I think, the show does do a decent job of not just being like one and done magic therapy. Will they give it the focus it deserves because she's a side character? Probably not. But from what I remember, I may be misremembering, but I don't think I am. There's still a little bit more, at least, that she gets of, like, it's not. She's not done.
I'll keep an eye out for that, because it felt anticlimactic. It felt almost as anticlimactic as last season when we learned the big, bad, horrible thing Michael did to Spock was try to run away from trauma. And it's like, this feels like it's the same, and it's also anticlimactic.
Yeah.
After so much buildup.
Yeah,
there's Spock tease.
Yeah. I mean, I did like the dinner scenes overall and like the catharsis of it all. Every fucking time Giorgio is on screen, I'm just like rolling my eyes. What fucked up thing is she gonna do?
Oh, she's gonna snark because that's required.
Yeah.
I'm gonna yell, throw her in the brig because that's required. And she's just gonna be there to be like the other perception of what's going on, when really she's 90% of the time she's deterring everyone.
Yeah, well, she's really just there to be disruptive.
Yeah.
And it's like, Saru, why did you invite her to this fucking dinner?
Because, you know what? He wasn't gonna, but realized she would have shown up anyway. So he's like, fine.
Brig.
Also, she's there to fuck Linus. They, like...
Oh, God.
Have you not noticed?
Oh, that's right. She did mention a couple weeks ago or so, like, oh, you see a different visual spectrum.
Yeah.
Look up my vagina for me.
But yeah, they keep having like little glances and moments, and the show, I don't think, ever makes it explicit, so it's probably some of the subtler work it ever does, but those two clearly fuck.
Yikes.
Oh, that reminds me. They did finally explain something that has driven you crazy for ages, Ames.
What is it?
Apparently, just shoot someone isn't Starfleet protocol.
What the fuck? That's Michael's favorite thing.
Right, but because after she stuns the 3 guys, and Adira's like, that's not Starfleet protocol. It's like, nope. I'm like, but you were defending yourself, and he would have gone off and gotten more guards. What were you supposed? And it's not like you didn't use stun.
How does Adira know what Starfleet protocol is, or what Starfleet protocol was back in the 23rd century?
It's a good question.
Yeah, I loved it. There was some review I was watching that was like, you can really see Michael's progression as a character because now she'll shoot people. And I'm like, she did that to Takovma.
Yeah.
That was the thing that got her in trouble in the first place.
But see, this time she remembered to switch to stun. Which isn't all...
She didn't actively switch to kill.
Yes, yeah. That's right, that's what she did. I forgot, it was revenge. It is funny, one of the very, like, the thing that, like, Star Trek is very inconsistent with, or really was inconsistent with once, is that, Star Trek 6 says close range stun can still be fatal, but we see close range stun all the time. That's fine.
How close is close range exactly?
Yeah. There, of course, are tiers of stun as well. So you can have, like, very low stun.
Yeah. I think this is also the episode where I started, where I can, like, specifically point at and say, this is where I'm getting sick of the Michael saves the day every fucking week. Because I mentioned in my intro, mostly as a joke, but also so I can get to this point, that she literally has a conversation with Hugh when Hugh tells her, you're the perfect person for this job. And here's me explaining why, when really... all he's doing is explaining why he'd be a better person to go down there than Michael.
Well, and even Michael says it like, but you literally died. What it comes down to is, again, they want her to be the focus of that scene, but also they needed Hugh to be in the awkward dinner scene with his husband. Well,
in that case, I don't think they needed that. They didn't need Hugh to tell her that you're the perfect person for the job, because that only highlighted for me that he would have been more suited as someone who can, like, actually, like, empathize with Adira's situation, since he also was having, like, an identity crisis that we seem to have forgotten about a little bit. But I know will come back eventually.
I think what they're running with is, like, it's not, they don't, like, acknowledge it blatantly, but I think the fact that, like, he is sort of falling into the counselor role is in part because he's got this unique perspective.
Yeah, I like that for him. I wish they would explore it a little bit more.
Yeah, Bones would have appreciated that, because he remember back in 4 when he's tasking Spock about what it's like to die, and he's like,
"Oh yeah,
I have no comment." It's like, you mean to discuss it? I'd have to die. Hugh could probably tell him about it without him needing to die first. It's a shame they never met.
Yeah, maybe it's just that I wanted to give Hugh the chance to go on an adventure. He has had no big adventures. He's only been kind of like the victim of crime.
The victim of this show.
Oh no, that's sad.
He's the closest we have to an O'Brien, but he has less shitty days. But boy, did he have a really shitty one. And then however long he was in the mycelial network.
That all seemed pretty shitty.
Yeah.
What else did I want to bring up? Boop, boop, boop.
I did think it was funny that they almost seem to acknowledge that some of their own poor choices in lines in the past, when Pissy Stamets was like, it's not just about how cool science is. It's like, okay, now stop writing lines like that if you've acknowledged they're kind of dumb.
But I did like Stamets just absolutely just shutting down the Tilly babble, because you could, like, it was a real subversion of my expectations.
I was expecting the camera to start spinning.
Oh yeah, I was like, oh, here we go. We're gonna get another Tilly babble science ping pong going on, and then
he's like, fuck this scene, and then walks
he's like,
out.
He's like, I'm not doing this today. It's like,
that's how you know he's in a bad mood. He's reverted to, like, early season 1 Stamets. He no longer tolerates Tilly at the moment. Which he's really got to tolerate her, because the only people on this ship that will put up with him for more than 10 minutes are her and Hugh.
Yeah, I mean, Jet does so ironically.
Yes.
But we also don't get... We get Jet every, like, 5 or 10 episodes, so...
Yeah. And in a way, on the one hand, like, it's a bummer, but on the other hand, always leave them wanting more, so...
Yeah, but what we get is... What we get leaves us wanting more because we're unfulfilled.
Yeah.
Like, that's the difference. Like, you can say, oh, I want more of this because I like it. Or you can say, oh, I want more of this because it's clear you're not done. It's clear you have more to tell that you're not doing.
Yeah, it's fair.
That's where I'm kind of like, I want more Jet Reno because I think she should be filling some of these roles.
Yeah. Especially because presumably, like, her job to keep the standard warp drive running, which they will still need to use on occasion, and now it's like, oh god. Try to get our 1,000-year-old fucking dilithium chamber up to snuff. P.S. Here's a recrystallizer, something that didn't exist in our time. Or was brand new and you hadn't seen yet, at least.
Right. Oh, Nan got a line. She asks, what the fuck is a haiku? And they're like, it's something with like 5 syllables and 7 syllables and 5 syllables. And she, who probably speaks an entirely different language and using the universal translator, is like, what the fuck are you talking about? These are all coming through as like squeaks in whatever my language is to me.
Yeah, it was nice, though, that for once an alien didn't know everything about Earth.
I do enjoy that.
I mean, especially because, like, even the concept of a haiku on Earth is such a problem. Because, like, you know, part of the reason, like, Japanese, a lot of their poetic tradition is based around syllable count. Because due to the nature of the language, rhyme scheme isn't like here, like, clever meter and rhyme scheme is more impressive because of the nature of our language, which is, like, a disaster clusterfuck. You know,
it's like every language had an orgy.
Yeah, well, like, I think I've heard English described as 3 languages standing on each other's shoulders in a trench coat.
Yeah.
You know, I remember reading in college about how basically, like, you took these sort of diverse Celtic, dialects.
Okay.
And then every time somebody steamed into England and took over, they added something to it. So it was this bizarre mix of, like, ancient Welsh, Latin, French, medieval German. Like, English is a mess. Whereas Japanese, like, is much more, like, structured, and this, like, rhyming is incredibly simple because of the way the language works, where, like, the majority of the sort of the syllables they have do end in one of 5 vowel sounds. So because rhyming is actually very, very easy in Japanese, it's not terribly impressive. So, like, we know about haiku in the West because for some reason that's the one we sort of was popularized, but they've got several different, like, poetic traditions based around syllable count. But you can say so much more with so many fewer syllables in Japanese. So an English haiku is like...
Yeah, they're concise.
It's a sad joke. The point
is that it's concise, yeah.
Because, like, we can say so much less in those few syllables. And yeah, it's still concise even in Japanese, but you can still say so much more complicated stuff in that limited space. So, you know, even on Earth, like, haiku really can't really translate to other languages in the same way. So then translating to an alien language is even more, like, incomprehensible.
It's like, what is it? Vogon poetry and Hitchhiker's Guide? Yeah. And it's unlisten-toable?
It's torture for other species.
Yay.
But yes, again, it was nice that for once someone was like, what the fuck are you humans talking about? On my world, we don't have poetry. We throw rocks at each other and scream. Or something.
Sounds like Klingon.
Those fuckers love poetry and opera.
That's true, those guys do.
Now, admittedly, I'm sure a lot of
tough with that language.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of the operas also involve screaming and hurling things. I imagine the safety coordinator is not a position in Klingon theater.
No.
There's no greater honor than actually getting wounded during the Kalis cycle performances or whatever.
Cool. Yeah, overall, like, I like what this episode kind of gives to us in terms of, like, moving forward.
Yeah.
I like Adira. There are definitely moments where I was just like, oh, that's where you went with that. Eh?
Yeah. Again, I think, like I said, I think some of it still is still in the process of happening, but it's not obvious from the way it was written.
Yeah, like, I almost wonder, like, you know, people were expecting, like, I wonder what's wrong with Detmer, is, like, maybe her head tech is infected with something, or she's possessed by something, or what have you. And for it to be, like, a very normal human reason is a nice touch. But I think because they played it up so hard, it means that doing something that's, like, just normal, simple storytelling just, to me, felt like a letdown.
Yeah, well, I think it catches people off guard, you know, especially because, again,
maybe that's what they were trying to do, yeah.
As we've discussed, like, you know, 60s Star Trek, of course, didn't have therapy because therapy wasn't a thing that you talked about in the 60s. You had alcoholism. And then a lot of the 90s stuff, while meaning well, was very pop psychiatry and psychology.
Whatever Troy was doing.
Yeah, so, like, this is trying harder, I think, to be more realistic in its depiction, at least, of mental health issues. And because we're not used to that with Trek, it's kind of unexpected and surprising. And, like, people were expecting it's going to be a thing. It's like, oh, no, it's a real human thing.
Yeah, it's not a sci-fi MacGuffin thing. It's just character work.
Yeah, it's like
which we're also not used to the side characters getting.
Yes. Yeah, it's like it's Starfleet, which is an inherently traumatic existence, even on a good day. You know, I'll try to dig it up, but there's this wonderful old, like, comic that floats around sometimes.
Is that the one with, like, Picard, like, in a haze being like, tea?
Yeah, he just disassociates. Yeah. Yeah, it's the one with, like, the comic. Romulans literally coming out of the ceiling. I think I even have it saved, so hopefully I won't have to go digging for it, and I'll share it either way if I can find it. That was my profile pic for a while, was disassociating Picard.
Nice.
Speaking of words that begin with dis,
sure,
is the segue I'm going with.
We've had worse.
We've had worse. Yeah, so we need to do more chatter on our general science fiction media topics, and this week's science fiction media topic is dystopian sci-fi, of which there is a lot, and there is also a lot that overlaps with our topic from last week, which you definitely read about on the blog over at tumblr.thing. We talked about post-apocalypse, apocalyptic societies last week. This week is specifically dystopian, so there's a bit of Venn diagram, but there's also a lot that we can talk about fresh.
So one thing that just occurred to me, like I didn't come ready for this, but it just popped into my head. A few weeks back, we brought up the campy as fuck 70s Buck Rogers show. Mm-hmm. And what's really funny is one thing they abandoned very quickly after the pilot was that there was a lot of implication that the society of Buck Rogers was actually going to be super dystopian. But then they clearly abandoned it by the, like, regular series, because in the first one, Earth has been like super devastated. There's like one city left, and everyone answers to this like council of robot faces.
Ooh.
Who are depicted as like, you know, benign sort of rulers, but you're kind of like, are they though? But then by the time the series proper happens, there's a bunch of cities. There's only one of the robot faces, and he's like an advisor, not a leader. And it's like, I kind of want the fucked up version of Buck Rogers. Like if we do it again, let's build on the pilot version.
Yeah,
that was
when they obviously do a redo of it, as all shows do these days.
Like, yeah, give me the, like, Buck realizes the future sucks and he has to save it from itself. Not that I don't love the goofiness of the original show, but, like, you watch that pilot and you're like, there was some not spoken dark shit here.
That's interesting. Yeah, I've never seen any Buck Rogers, so that kind of surprises me, because from what I understand about it, it's very goofy is the word I'm going to use.
Well, and that thing, even the pilot is super camp, but there's those little things you look at and you're like, I feel like there was at least one person involved in creating this that wanted to try to sneak in some dark shit that no one else noticed. But then that person wasn't around for the main show, or someone noticed and told them to cut it out.
Funny.
Yeah, I mean, I found this category to be very broad, so I have a bunch on my list. So I don't know.
So many.
Yeah, I don't know what I'll... I'm going to just highlight a couple that people may not know about that I think are quite good. The first one I want to mention is THX 1138.
I've heard it. That kept popping up when I was doing a general search, but I've not seen it, but it looks familiar.
It's, I don't know. I mean, its claim to fame is that it's George Lucas's first commercial film, you know, before American Graffiti and all that.
Remind me. He did like a short version for college and then did a feature length version after, right? Or am I making that up?
I think that I don't remember the exact specifics, but that does sound very familiar. This was his college project. Yeah, like so he basically did it as a student film and then got the money together to make a feature, and like it has like Robert Duvall. It's actually like a film. It's like a movie.
Yeah,
and you know, it's sort of, you know, obviously American Graffiti was his big breakout success, but I think this was his foot in the industry. So, and I remember it being quite good. I mean, it's nothing earth shattering, but it's basically your standard sci-fi dystopia. People live in a weird society and everyone's given a number. And I remember like sex and sexuality being a big part of it, but it has been quite some time since I've watched it.
It's interesting though, of course, because like, on the one hand, it's not earth-shattering now, but at the time, I feel like dystopian fiction maybe wasn't quite as common or mainstream like, I don't know how many dystopian films per se there'd been before that point.
Depends on what your definition of a dystopian film was, because they're definitely
True.
They're not uncommon.
Yeah. But I think, it was still, like, I think the 70s had a huge glut of very depressed dystopian cinema and non-dystopian cinema. So it may have been kind of towards the early days of cynical 70s cinema.
Well, that's it. Yeah, anything that's, both like post-apocalyptic works and dystopian works are like reactions to people in a population thinking something horrible is going to happen. So like being in like the Cold War sparked a ton of this media.
Yeah. And it's funny, of course, because so much of the dystopian fiction was like an unsubtle metaphor for, perceptions of what communist life was.
Huh.
And it's just like, sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Well, I think, there's one I'm going to bring up. I'm not a fan of this, but I do want to mention it because it's sort of, it's relevant to the topic, but Atlas Shrugged is a dystopia.
True.
And that's, True. Obviously it's a different, it sort of fits into that same, like when you say like, oh, this is communism run amok. That is kind of the, it's not explicitly communism, I guess. It's just, government overreach and regulation, stifling industry.
Yeah. I made the mistake of reading much of that once.
Oh my.
Well, not because I thought I would like it. It was because I felt like I could not in good conscience criticize Rand based on secondhand information and
That's
Bioshock.
A good point. Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, honestly, having now actually done it, Bioshock and secondhand information is sufficient. Everything you've heard about that person's mad philosophy is true. It is. I didn't actually finish it. I got as far as Galt's Gulch before I just gave the fuck up. Yeah, I remember actually reading it, telling my roommate at the time I'd finally stopped. And I was talking about the fact that Dagny Taggart, the main character, really, honestly, the Dagny Taggart should be in place of the Mary Sue, because Dagny Taggart came first.
Ha!
And I was saying, like, God, she's a Mary Sue throughout, but then it gets to Galt Gulch and, like, it really ramps up. And my roommate goes, oh, what, did the quarterback ask her to the prom? And I said, everybody asked her to the prom. It's so bad. It's so bad. Like, everything you've heard about it is true.
Yeah, I had a friend in high school who was an odd duck, to say the least, and he was obsessed with this book. Like, it shaped his entire world. I have no idea where he is today, or if he became.
Happens to a lot of people with this book.
Yeah. No, it is. Also, like, Rand was clearly into some weird shit in the bedroom. Like, there's a couple sex scenes, and all of them feel a little rapey.
Oh, no.
But, like, the character is into... And again, this is written by a woman, so it's like, I think Rand would be into what is now referred to as consensual non-consent.
Yikes. Let's move on from that, because that's awful. There's a lot of really great literature with featuring dystopian societies, because it's so great to, like, dissect, like, especially, like, fascism, authoritarianism, all the stuff that you can really get away with in a book. And we'll end up putting you on the banned book lists. I'm thinking of, like, 1984's classic. Despite being banned, everyone's read it in high school. Brave New World is fucking excellent and has a disgusting rape scene.
And a big orgy.
With a big orgy,
all kinds of nonsense.
Brave New World is like, Aldous Huxley was a menace, and I love it. Fahrenheit 451 is brilliant.
Oh, like, that is one of my favorite books.
They're all such interesting. Like, I'm glad that these are the kind of book that you do read in high school. Yeah. Because they're the kind of books that, like, try to teach kids to think skeptically and think outside of everything, like, to not believe everything they're told. Like, that's what these books kind of serve as. And I don't know if most kids get it, but it's definitely there.
Yeah, I wonder how, because we're in a new era of sort of book burning and banning, and I do wonder if those, particularly Brave New World, because I remember we read in high school, we read 1984 and Brave New World kind of back to back as sort of explorations of the genre of like sci-fi and like authoritarianism, and like for what, like, Brave New World is excellent. I actually prefer it to 1984 myself, I think, but it is a very sexy book,
Yeah.
for lack of a better term.
Orgy Corgy.
Especially for, ninth graders. I remember there was a lot of giggling in that class. And I do wonder, though, if those books are still going to be standard issue reading.
Like on the curriculum. Yeah, I'm curious. I don't know what kids read these days.
Couldn't tell you.
Yeah. I also know there was a very, very cute, just in comparing 84 and Brave New World, in that, I may have even mentioned this before because it's hilarious. When 1984 came out, Aldous Huxley reaches out to Orwell and says, yeah, you did a nice job there, but, you didn't do what I did with Brave New World and make people think they're living in a utopia when they're not. They all know they're in a dystopia, and, the brilliance of Brave New World, and it's like just Aldous Huxley wanking himself off, and it's like, this is fucking hilarious.
This is not at all related to the topic, but I have to bring it up because it's connected. As far as authorial ego goes... Someone does an interview once with Joseph Heller.
Ooh, nice.
A decade or two after Catch-22. Yeah, fucking love that book.
Him.
And someone says to him, Mr. Heller, how is it you've never written a book as good as Catch-22 since Catch-22? And Joseph Heller sits up, looks the interviewer dead in the eye, and goes, how come no one has?
Nice. Oh, genius.
That's
great.
Such a good retort.
That's really good.
Now, I feel like I've read this before, but I've never fact-checked it. But have either of you ever looked into whether or not, they claim that 1984 was banned in Russia because it was criticizing communism and banned in America because it was criticizing, America. I don't know if that's true.
I haven't read that, but that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, that's the thing, is I feel like a lot of these things ultimately are just criticizing,
if you can see yourself in them, you get scared and banned.
Yeah, exactly.
Couple other books I want to throw in because they're great. The Giver is fucking excellent. That's a good one. That's kind of a world where knowledge is passed down through like a single person who gets to know the histories.
Yeah.
And someone gives them the knowledge, and then now they're the next person who has the knowledge of what came before, and it's kind of fascinating. That's a good book.
Crazy enough, I've never read it.
I'd recommend it.
I know it's pretty much one of those standard, everyone our age at least read it at some point in middle or high school. But the weird thing was the way my school worked was they rotated the books between the various English classes, and they had
Oh, when you were on the off year?
It was they had more books than they had room for in the year. So every year you didn't read certain books that other classes did. And I just happened to be in the group that never read The Giver, but I did read Fahrenheit, so...
Yeah.
Isn't part of it, too, people see in black and white or something like that? Or is that a different book?
I don't remember.
There's definitely some, standard kids semi-sci-fi book that, part of the deal is everyone except a select few people, actually see the world in, grayscale.
I don't remember. It's not ringing a bell, but it doesn't mean... It could just be I've forgotten.
Yeah. Anyway, back to it.
One more book, because that's on my list, and I think the book is great. I think the movie is meh. Ender's Game is very good.
Oh, I haven't read that in a dog's age.
Yeah, I think, good God, is that Scott Card?
Yes,
my brain
it
is off. Yeah, Orson Scott Card, who himself is a weird guy.
Oh, yeah, and he turned out to be a real shitheel about,
he turned weird, but, he can write a fucking book.
Yeah.
And it's, the book that made me really, visualize three-dimensional fights in ways that no other medium ever could, because it was explained very, very well. And the movie doesn't even do a good job of it, because the movie has the capacity to do it in three-dimensional, and it still just looks like a normal two-dimensional fight. Damn it. But really good book.
Yeah, it's worth reading if you can get your hands on a used copy so Orson doesn't get your penny.
Yeah, I think I got one used from the library. Oh, I don't know.
He may have passed on. I don't quite remember. So, I mentioned this last week. I don't remember if I mentioned it on the air, actually, but one of my favorite dystopias, of course, is Blade Runner.
Yay!
I love cyberpunk in general. There was so much, again, sort of anti-communist dystopia fiction. But then, of course, the best realm for anti-capitalist dystopian fiction is the cyberpunk world.
Oh, definitely.
You've got Snow Crash. You've got the Sprawl trilogy by Gibson. I think both of which recently got announced they're getting TV adaptations. Then there's the whole, cyberpunk franchise that kicked off with Mike Pondsmith's tabletop RPG in the late 80s and more recently became more famous because of Cyberpunk 2077 and Edge Runners.
There's a cartoon, right?
It's very good. And I think it's done that, like, because it doesn't use any of the characters from, well, there's like cameos, but like none of the main characters from the games are in it. And I think they do a pretty good job of establishing the world well enough that you don't have to play the game and you can still enjoy the show. They just announced a second season, so...
Neat.
Yeah, I'm thinking if Philip K. Dick does one thing really well, it's creating these weird worlds that you can really live in and that translate to television and movies really well, even if like the story he's written is very short and not as deep as it could be.
And
because I'm also thinking Total Recall does a similar thing in creating just this scenario that is fascinating. Yeah,
and the Blade Runner novella, what's the actual title? Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?
Yep.
It's fucking weird, man. Like in a good way, but it is... They cut a lot of weird out for the movie.
Yeah. Well, again,
I missed the weird. I wanted the weird.
Well, speaking of weird and dystopia and movies and where they didn't cut the weird or where they changed the weird in a lot of ways.
Did they more weird it?
I just want to give a general mention of the Verhoeven canon.
Oh,
Yay.
Yeah. Good point.
Pretty much, yeah.
So, I'm thinking going back to Total Recall, right? Obviously, that's its own thing, its own brand of weird.
Yeah.
Totally different from the source material, but equally entertaining. But I think, obviously Starship Troopers totally butchered its source material intentionally.
Thank
because
God.
its source material was trash.
But source material was pro-fascist, for fuck's sake.
But of all the Verhoeven sort of dystopia trilogy, RoboCop has to take the cake for me.
Yeah, that's such a good movie.
Yeah, real good.
Oh, of course, as we have also watched on the podcast, Gattaca.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, that's
on my
that's
list.
one of those dystopias that you don't realize is a dystopia because everyone living in it is having a great time.
Yeah.
But if you're like, the not glitch, what did they call? Did they call Ethan Hawke's character something?
Invalids?
Invalid.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you're, not one of the desired people in that society, it is fucking horrible for you.
Yeah, well, yeah, and it's interesting, too, because it's in a way a unique dystopia in that it's this weird genetic dystopia. Whereas normally dystopian fiction is, again, it's usually a criticism of some sort of very specific governmental structure.
Yeah.
Whereas this is a criticism of social structures and racism and race and genetic eugenics bullshit.
Yeah, it's the whole society and not just the people in charge. They've kind of, built from the foundation up.
Yeah. And I guess, too, we were talking about what do kids read today. There is a proliferation of YA dystopian fiction driven by The Hunger Games.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Which,
Books, the movies are pretty decent, too.
Yeah, and the impression I'm under is, The Hunger Games is kind of like the really good one, and the rest are kind of cash grab also-rans, but I've never read them, so I don't know. But yeah, The Hunger Games, at least, I think, is the go-to dystopia right now for younger folks.
Yeah. There was a play we did, I want to say it was Reader, Jake, where as the audience post-question, get involved thing, I think we put Post-its out and said, what's your favorite dystopian society or dystopian, piece of media, and let people fill it in and made a little poster board of it. And a lot of people said Hunger Games.
Yeah. Well, thank you for mentioning, because that was on my list as well as Reader, because
Ariel Dorfman's Reader.
Yeah, we don't often talk about The Stage, but I did want to mention Reader. There's two others I want to mention. One which Chris is intimately familiar with is The Pillow Man. Very much in the same,
isn't it?
Martin McDonagh's Pillow Man.
It's very much in that 1984 kind of spirit. Yeah, it's almost like if you tried to do a proper stage adaptation of 1984, it just wouldn't work. But Martin McDonagh kind of made his own version of it in The Pillow Man in a lot of ways.
That's a good point.
So here's your third. What Once We Felt.
Yeah, that was a pretty good. I don't know if anyone's going to have heard of that one, but it is pretty good.
Well, go check it out. Find it, check it out. It's a society in which it's populated solely by women, and they pick and choose who gets to have babies.
I think another good example from The Stage is that we've done is The Nether by Jennifer Haley, which is it's a little more, it's more like a police procedural sort of thing, very similar to Pillowman in some ways. But this is one where society basically, like, everyone is always locked into VR, and there's some like sketchy shit that people do in VR, and it raises a lot of questions about like, hey, okay, if I do this gnarly shit that's obviously illegal to do in real life, but I'm doing it in VR, like what's happening? Is there liability there?
I mean, considering we as a society still don't seem to have a consistent way of dealing with digital harassment, it's still very relevant.
Oh, another book / television show, The Handmaid's Tale.
Good. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because that was the other thing people put on their Post-it notes an awful lot after that show. Because we haven't even watched the most recent season of it because I'm just too fucking bleaked out. Well, yeah, is rare coming from me because I fucking love bleak.
I mean, living in a dystopia makes watching dystopian fiction a little exhausting sometimes. Watching women get their rights stripped away day by day and then wanting to watch this television show has not, gone hand in hand for me right now. Yeah. Give it a little while. How have we not mentioned Black Mirror?
Oh, Black Mirror's at the top of my list. That's going to be my number fucking one.
I was going to specifically call out one episode of Black Mirror, Nosedive, as being...
Is that the...
That's the one with...
Bryce Howard one?
Yeah, that's the one with Bryce Howard. And it's classic setup. Everyone is rated 5 stars, and your star rating dictates your position in society, and shit goes bad for one poor lady.
That's a great episode.
There's a myriad dystopian
500,000 credits, merits.
15
I'll
million
never get
merits.
the number, and I'll never get the currency right, but it's a fucking brilliant episode. Go watch it.
Oh, actually, in a similar vein to Buck Rogers, Futurama was supposed to be more dystopian.
I mean, I think it kind of is.
But it was going to be way more blatant. But they admitted, because I owned the DVDs for the first 5, the original run. And they even said on the commentary, like, the original society they envisioned was way more explicitly dystopian, and they dropped a lot of it very quickly. I mean, they bring up, job assignments twice in, like, the original episode, and then later as half a joke of, like, we kind of forgot about this because we decided we didn't want to do that. But yeah, like, there was some stuff, they talked a little bit about, like, how far they were going to go. So yeah, I mean, you could definitely still say it is in many ways, but it was going to be a way worse originally, apparently.
Yeah, like, there's definitely, like, the commentary is in there, because that's a great way to sneak commentary to people, is by putting it in, like, a sci-fi alien story. Oh, here's another example of sneaking commentary into a sci-fi alien story, and that's District 9.
I still need to see that.
Speaking of fucking bleak.
Yeah, I mean, that was such a groundbreaking and interesting film of its time. And then I feel like the Neil Blomkamp, I think, was the writer-director. Yeah. I feel like he kind of just vanished. He did a couple more films that I don't think were really well received, and then so much else. Yeah, he's like, that's the thing, is like, that was like his breakout and huge, and he never quite reached those heights again, and just he might still be doing this, but I don't know what. It must suck when, like, your first thing is huge and then you never manage to, let me look at Shyamalan. I think he's never quite lived up to his initial impression, but he's still been in the public eye a lot more despite that. Right. And that show he's involved with is supposedly quite good. I got a couple more that I would just want to throw out there, kind of rapid fire. So I'm going to throw out V for Vendetta.
Good one.
I haven't read the book, but I have watched the movie.
The book is excellent. The film, while very different, I think does a good job of distilling a lot of its core ideas. And I think because if you tried to do a straight, like, frame-for-frame adaptation, you would have a terrible fucking film. Because it is a comic that very much revels in its format. Which also is why adapting Watchmen is so hard. Because, again, it's also Alan Moore, and it, like, kind of relies on being a comic book. And trying to translate it literally is a problem. So I think V for Vendetta did a better job. Yeah, I actually didn't mind the Watchmen film, and I have read that book. Oh no, it's not bad. I like them both for different reasons. Yeah, but it could have been a little more distilled than it was, I think, and would have been better received by more people.
I think that's accurate. Another video game I want to put out there is Deus Ex.
Oh, yeah.
When that is.
That is an early 2000s game. It's basically Android sci-fi,
Nice.
noir kind of cop detective android nonsense in an authoritarian setting.
Yeah, I've never played it, but it is spoken very highly of.
It was a great game. I mean, I haven't played it in well over 20 years, but I don't, and I have no idea if it holds up, but it was pretty groundbreaking for the time.
By all accounts, it does. It's another one of those franchises that Ubisoft just completely fucking bungled because they're a terrible company.
Couple more films. Minority Report.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Tom Cruise vehicle. I think that's, when I talk about how Tom Cruise has never made a bad movie. I mean, that's one example right there where it's like that movie's just so great.
That was the movie after I lost a lot of faith in Steven Spielberg because of how much I fucking despised AI. Was like, all right, maybe you still know how to make a film.
Yeah. What else I got here? Have we said Brazil yet?
We haven't. I'm glad you're bringing it up because that's a good example.
Terry Gilliam classic.
I was going to bring that up as something I am still embarrassed to admit I've not seen and really, really fucking have to.
It's good. I mean, it's very good. It's good in an absurd kind of way.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you'd expect from Gilliam.
Yeah, but yeah, it's very much, yeah, it's definitely worth watching. Another film. I mean, so you could arguably put The Matrix on this list. I'm not going to formally put that Matrix on this list, but there's another film that came out around the same time as The Matrix, has a lot of similar themes, and I think fits better with the dystopian theme. And that is Dark
which one it is.
City.
Yep, that's the one. That one's so fucking weird.
It is very weird.
That's one I have to see. I feel like that's a kind of like a big cult picture that a lot of people swear by.
Well, it's definitely one of those films that, again, it came out so close to The Matrix.
Yeah.
And it has so many kind of similar themes that I think a lot of people are like, oh, well, The Matrix is better. And yeah, in a number of ways, The Matrix is the more marketable film for sure. I wouldn't say it's better, but it's certainly, I mean, I love The Matrix. I'm not dissing, shitting on The Matrix at all. But yeah, Dark City is just, it takes what was great about The Matrix and just dials up the weird.
Yeah, it's kind of surreal-ish.
It's got a very surreal bent. I don't love the ending, I'll say that, but yeah, definitely Dark City. If you haven't, check that out.
You have just reminded me of Equilibrium. You ever seen that?
No.
It is terrible. But it was like one of the many sort of like also ran like we want to try to get that Matrix money post Matrix pictures. And it's this completely insane. It's like the weird bastard child of the first Matrix and Fahrenheit 451.
Ooh.
Because there's like banned, I think, books and possibly other art and media. But like the people that are sent to deal with it, rather than being firemen, are these like long leather jacket wearing people who know something called gun kata.
Right. Oh my God, I do
You've
remember.
Heard of gun kata, I bet.
I've heard of gun kata.
I know Chris has brought it up before. That's how I recognize that word.
Yeah, it's I saw like most, if not all of it years ago, because I'd heard how bad it was. It was one of those you have to see this, it's so stupid movies. Like I didn't go in thinking it was going to be good.
It was basically that time when like Hollywood got drunk on bullet time and had to do that for everything. Yeah,
everyone and their mother did that stupid curving bullet bullshit. Yeah. Oh, two big like sort of classics of the genre, Logan's Run and Soylent Green.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
And of course, a Mystery Science Theater classic, Parts the Clonus Horror, which was later remade as The Island, except they didn't get permission, and the makers of Parts the Clonus Horror sued and won, is my understanding. Because it's basically the same fucking story. I don't know if they actually kept it on appeal or anything, but they at least initially won, being like, they stole our idea.
Nice. Good for them.
Yeah.
Okay, I think this might be the last one for me, but an absolute, and I brought it up, I think I brought it up a few weeks ago with a different conversation, but I think it fits better here as dystopian, and that is Idiocracy.
Yes, I'm glad you brought Idiocracy is one I wanted to make sure I brought up, because that is...
Mike Judge.
Yeah, it's a satire future thing in which, like, because everyone is stupid, the whole future is stupid. And it's very funny because of it.
Yeah.
Could you argue that the Mushroom Kingdom of the 90s live-action Mario Brothers is a dystopia?
Oh, absolutely.
100%.
So, fascinatingly, my brother-in-law and his sister, who grew up, like, in a household that didn't allow video games or television, so, like, really had no connection to or touchstone with Mario Brothers, were recently shown that movie. And apparently, if you don't already have feelings about Mario Brothers and how it should be, it's way better than the rest of us think.
Yeah, because everyone else is figuring, like, how the hell did you get this out of that video game about jumping on turtles?
Yeah. Yeah, they quite enjoyed it as its own thing, and I almost wish I could see it in isolation, but that, of course, is impossible.
Fascinating.
Speaking of Bob Hoskins,
You said you were out, Jake.
I did, but just because you mentioned Super Mario Brothers made me think of this film, which is another, in my opinion, possibly perfect film that stars Bob Hoskins, and it has a somewhat of a dystopian element to it.
Are you going to bring up what I think you're about to bring up?
It's a stretch. But Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Okay, that is what you were going to bring up.
Okay.
I mean,
weird.
Specifically the idea of Toontown.
Specifically the idea of, like, these two places exist at the same time, and
That there's like this like ghetto where cartoons live, and there's like an authoritarian judge that goes around extrajudiciously melting and murdering cartoons.
Yeah, I guess for the Toons, it is a dystopia.
Yeah,
they don't have rights.
No.
Which is funny because when you think about it, they are effectively gods. Reality means nothing to them. The fact that they haven't conquered humanity by just summoning anvils from the sky is...
Yeah, disappearing through the hole.
I mean, that's basically what Judge Doom did to Eddie's brother, right?
Exactly.
He dropped a piano on him.
Like, I never thought about the fact that they really could easily take over, because until Judge Doom came up with Dip, they were immortal. Oh man.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, it's a stretch, but I also will take any. I'll take any excuse to bring up Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
It is always worth bringing up. A couple shows that haven't come up yet that I think are worth a mention. One could argue that Westworld is kind of dystopian, especially like season, I think it's 3, where you actually see the rest of the world, and it's just fucking weird. Actually, the one I was going to bring up, but I'm in the wrong place in my notes. But the one that I really want to bring up is Severance, which is like this fascinating, like, corporate bureaucracy dystopia thing, where you split yourself in half, and half of you lives at home and half of you lives at work.
Yeah.
And it's fucking horrifying if you think about it, and it's so well done. Like, I know that needs to go higher on your to-watch list, Chris.
I know. Oh, Judge Dredd.
Yeah, speaking of judges.
Very explicitly dystopian, although, I think clearly the Sylvester Stallone adaptation didn't understand that while he is the main character, he's not a good guy. And then there was the much better Carl Urban movie, which should have done better than it did.
Carl Urban.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, it's just called Dredd, and it's good.
On the topic of another one, since bringing, I'm like doing word association here with Sly Stallone, Demolition Man.
Oh. With I meant to bring him up earlier because, of course, they named him after the fucking character from Brave New World.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
God, that's such a fun movie.
Yeah.
One shout out I want to give, because this is another one that's just fucking weird. It's just a weird society to live in. Have you ever heard of The Lobster?
Oh,
yes, but I never saw it.
The Lobster is so fascinating.
That was a weird and good movie.
Yeah, weird.
It's Farrell, right?
Weird good. Oh, I don't remember. Yeah, but it's a world in which you basically, like, you have to find a mate using these, like, protocols. Here's the list of ways you have to go find yourself a mate. If you don't find a mate, you've written down somewhere on a card what animal you're going to turn into. It's so weird, but so interesting. It's very surreally cool.
You get to pick?
I'm pretty sure you get to pick.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And that's why the lobster is significant, because this guy picks, lobster makes sense.
Yeah. I'd go with capybara. Everyone loves a capybara.
Everyone does love a capybara.
Plus, I feel like at that point, especially like being human or being a capybara, I think I'd just purposely throw the game.
All right, at this time we've talked longer about dystopians than we've talked about Discovery, but I do have one more that I want to mention that I just thought of. Another Arnold Schwarzenegger sort of film, and that is The Running Man.
Oh, yeah.
That's
another one we ought to cover for the show.
Apparently getting a remake. I just saw the trailer yesterday.
Oh, fun.
Oh. Yeah, well, I mean, it's campy. I mean, it's got Richard Dawson.
Yes, as the host. That's
himself,
right.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yay. Love that for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a weird movie. Not like, it's from that mid 80s or late 80s Arnold, one-liner era, but it's fun. It's a fun watch. I recommend it.
From what little the trailer showed, it does look like the new one is still like understands that it should be a satire. And obviously there's a lot of updated to sort of the streaming and social media era, but without, I think, maybe being too fucking obnoxious about it. So it might be good.
The very, very last thing on my list that hasn't come up that I think is worth bringing up is the short story, The Lottery. That's fucking devastating. It's so well written because it takes you off guard when you realize what the lottery is. It's so good.
Homer sure wasn't ready for it.
Cool.
Now that we've listed so many fucking things,
God, there's so many.
Far too many things. I have my top 3 picked. They're not going to be surprising because we've talked about them many times before. Here's my top 3 of dystopian media. Number 1, Black Mirror, because how can I fucking not? I love Black Mirror. It's so imaginative. Each episode is its own little dystopia, and they're all fully formed and cool. Good on you, Charlie Brooker. Number 2, Brave New World. Love it. Love Aldous Huxley. He's such a weird guy. I also love, there was a book I read on that talked about his brother, who was a geneticist, I believe, or some kind of scientist. Yeah, it's real. If I ever got like one of those questions like, who do you want at your dinner party? Like from all of historical figures together in a room, I want to see what they talk about. That family fascinates me, and Brave New World fascinates me. I love that book so much. And number 3, I'm going to give to Gattaca because I fucking adore Gattaca. It's
such
so
a good movie.
It's so pretty.
So glad I finally fucking saw it.
Me too.
I'm going to give mine to Fahrenheit 451.
Good one.
Standing in for the whole cyberpunk genre, I'm going to give Blade Runner, the original.
Yep, that's right.
And God, we listed so many. Let's go with wow.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Don't tempt me. The future portions of Back to the Future 2.
That is dystopian.
It is.
That's a good one.
It's too real though. Too real.
Yikes.
Yeah, I was going to say Gattaca. I'm going to stick with Gattaca.
Hooray! More Gattaca.
Okay, well, I did have Gattaca on my list, but I'm going to call an audible here, just so we don't. I mean,
no
I
sweep for Gattaca.
We can call it a sweep if we want because it is on my list. It's written here.
But now we need more for the blog.
But we need more for the blog. So I'll start with RoboCop.
Yay!
And I'm going to give it to Dark City. I really like that movie.
Dark City is really cool. We should just have like Chris over and watch it sometime because it is really cool.
Or we could do a Five Wise. What do we call that thing?
10 forward?
10 forward.
Five Guys?
Five Guys.
Oh man, now I want Five Guys. Fuck you, Jake.
And then, all right, so now what do I swap for Gattaca? I'm going to say...
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Who Framed... Now, I think looking at my list, I'm going to give it to... Shit.
Demolition Man.
I'm gonna make Finding Images for You hard, and I'm gonna say The Pillow Man.
Oh, dip. Actually, I mean, I could just use the photos that you've taken of The Pillow Man, Jake.
Use a photo of Chris.
Yay! Oh, The Pillow Man is good. If you ever I would love to if some other if it were performed somewhere so I can see it again because it is very good. Coolies. Bonus if we get these from Caitlin, but no promises. If they're up on the blog and you've seen them, then points for you.
Yay.
And you get points in the scientific dystopia, which allows you to live another day.
Well, assuming we live to next week, Jake, what are we watching?
Yeah, well, assuming
we got those points.
We're gonna. So next week we're gonna watch some Star Trek Discovery or Die Trying. I mean, we're gonna be watching some Star Trek Discovery. The title of the episode is Die Trying. And we'll also be covering more Blogtivity stuff. Next week we're going to tackle alternate realities. Ooh, spooky. And I assume that extends to like alternate history as well as like parallel universe type stuff.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, cool. I love it. Very exciting. That should
I think it will be a slightly shorter list.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm hoping, because this has been a beast, but they're really fun to talk about.
Yeah, this was fun. Anyway, until then, you can always catch up with us on our blog, SSHB Podcast on Tumblr, or sshbpodcast.com will get you there. You can catch up with us on the microblogging platform that I can't remember the name of. Blue Sky, that's the one. SSHB Podcast. Facebook as well. Search us out there, and you can download our catalog of well over 400 episodes. SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, anywhere fine podcasts can be found, you can find us. Again, we are A Star to Steer Her By, and my name has been Jake.
This has been Chris.
This has been Ames. Oh, and we forget-me-notted Caitlin again.
No.
Yeah, we gotta get get Caitlin's symbiont into another body, at least temporarily, to have her on the podcast.
I think Ames, because it's just emerging, that doesn't make any sense. Kind of like when
I think it would be rejected immediately.
Spock were the same guy, and it didn't quite mesh. It would be hilarious.
Weird.